Hello, bookish friends of the internet. Welcome back to my account. My name is Drew, and this is Drew's Ambitious Reading. And for today's video, I am going to be doing my very first attempt at Bookmas. So, the very first video that I thought of to do for Bookmas, because I did this not last year, but I did this back in 2020, of showing you all my unread Owlcrate books that I had in 2020. I haven't gone back and watched that video. Maybe I should do like a reaction video to that. But I am here to do that same video, but with more and new exciting books. I have my notebook as always, because I have a few books that I couldn't find in my stack, even though I know I have them, which is weird how that happens. These are in no particular order. Let me just get the missing books out of the way first. So without further ado, these are all my unread Owlcrate books that I've owned, and I've been with Owlcrate, I want to say, since 2017, because I remember getting it as a Christmas present, and I wasn't even supposed to know about it, so it was a pretty funny memory with that, and I've been with them ever since. This is not sponsored in any way or shape or form. It's just me wanting to do this for Bookmas, and I thought this would be a fun first video for Bookmas. So here's your day one of every video coming out in December. So let's just jump into it, shall we? So the first one that I know I own, but I don't know where it's at, is Blessed Monster by Emily Duncan, I think is what the author's last name. This is the third and final book in the Wicked Saints trilogy, which I know this author has been getting a lot of hate recently. And I still want to complete that trilogy. I just can't find my copy of it, so I might just see my Libby or if my Hoopla has it, and I'll just listen to it via audiobook and complete that trilogy next year. The next one I know I don't have, or I know I have, but I just don't know where. Sorry. Trying to make sure I have everything. Oh, A Forgery of Roses. I don't remember who this author is either, but I'll try and show you guys pictures afterwards. And then those are the only two that I could not find in my stacks anywheres. So those are the two that I have missing, and then the rest of them I own physically. Like I said, I've been with Owlcrate for a long time, since 2017. So some of the Owlcrate books I mentioned in my 2020 video will definitely be in this video again. Let's see if this will help. It does. Let's just jump into it, because I have big stacks of books with me. So yeah, the third Owlcrate that I have unread for me is When Night Breaks by Janella Angels. I read Where Dreams Descend, and I really enjoyed it. I give it 3.5 stars. If you are a big fan of Carval and the Night Circus, I think you would definitely love this duology. I still need to read the sequel, obviously. I actually have it on my October TBR, and I might be reading this one next. This one I actually DNF last year, just because I couldn't get into it, because there was an AI character in here, and that was The Ones We're Meant to Find by Jonah He. This cover is stunning, like all the other covers we have in this stack. This is a YA standalone sci-fi with a mix of contemporary in here. It's about two sisters, and one of them is an AI or something like that, and it was weird writing for me. I was supposed to be buddy reading this with somebody, obviously, I don't know who, but apparently it was back in July I was supposed to buddy read this with someone. So I still have this book sitting on my list, just in case I do want to come back to it. I think I might do Sci-Fi July like my friend Charlie does, and I might read this in July, so who knows. I know Marie Lou blurbed this, so it has to be good. Don't know too much about this other than it's about sisters, and it's a little bit of sci-fi with a mix of contemporary, so there's that. The next book I have is the third and final book in the trilogy, and that is Wings of Shadows by Nikki Pruetta. This is, like I said, the third and final book in this trilogy, and I really love this trilogy so far. I think book 2 is my favorite. If you don't know, this is about characters who can ride on phoenixes. Phoenixi. I don't know. I don't know the proper word for it. But this is a high stake fantasy novel, and I just absolutely loved it. I gave book one a 3 stars, and then I read book two, and that book just blew me away, especially remembering the huge cliffhanger from book two. And then I did started this one uh, last year or sometimes early this year, and I just never got around to finishing it because it's just such a huge book. It's like 600 pages, I want to say. Yeah, 600 pages exactly. So, like, it's big. It's definitely one of my bigger Owlcrate books that I have here that I'm about to show you. But I definitely want to try and complete this trilogy next year, and hopefully I will love it as much as I loved book two. Next books I have is Sisters of the Snakes by Serena and Sasha Nanu. I'm sorry if I butcher any names in this video. This is a first book in a new trilogy or duology. I think it's a duology because book two just came out this fall, and I still really want it, even though I haven't read the first book. So my goal for next year, spoiler alert for the end of Bookmas, one of my goals is to not only read all my Owlcrate books, but it's also just to start the series that I have from Owlcrate and also read the sequel right after it. So this one, I can't remember what this one was about. I just know it was like my most anticipated read for the year. I want to say this came out last year. Yeah, 2021. And then, of course, the sequel came out this year. I actually kind of forgot the sequel was coming out this year until I saw it on somebody's, like, most anticipated reads list. So I'm really curious to see. The back says, a princess never falters. They think, they act, they succeed. I will play Rhea with all the might I have. I process a grin that does not waver. One fit for a princess and a thief. Ooh, it just sounds so good. And Danielle Clayton, who I met at YALS, she blurbed this book. And I don't know, just seeing a lot of my favorite authors on these books, I'm like, oh, if they love it, then I think I would love it. And again, this series might be completed already, or they're planning on doing a third book. Next book I have is my newest Owlcrate book, which I forgot to add to my list because I couldn't remember it at first. But that is The Whispering Dark. Look how creepy this is. The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. I think this is a YA thriller mystery type of book, or it has a bit of fantasy in it. This is like I said, my newest Owlcrate that I just got in the month of October. So I don't really know too much about it. But this cover, like this whole edition is just, can't even see it, but there's like little artwork on here. There's artwork on the back, and then on this dust jacket, there's stunning artwork on the dust jacket. And then the end pages, oh, there goes the dust jacket. And the end pages, like, you guys outdid yourself. I don't, like I said, I really don't know too much about this one. It wasn't even on my radar or anything, but books like that can surprise you. So we'll see if I like this one. I might be saving this for the spooky season next year and see if I love it then, or I might save it for the springtime and read it for spring. But yeah, this is just a stunning edition, and I honestly don't know too much about this one, so there's that for us. Next book is one of my books that was in the 2020 video that I did, and that is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerstone. I am so excited to read this. I know I say that with all my books, but this one is like super short. It's a YA fantasy. I think it's set in the same world as Sorcery of Thorns, but I could be mixing that up with something else. Again, don't know too much about this one, but this end pages, like, yes, I just love it. But yeah, I remember getting this from Owlcrate, being like, oh, I'm so excited to read this, and I have not yet read it at all. So, and it's very short, so I feel like it would be perfect for like a book under 300 pages prompt for any readathons next year. Again, don't know too much about this except it's like a YA fantasy standalone, which we love. So can't wait to see what this one's going to be about, and hopefully I'll love it because I gave Sorcery of Thorns 5 stars. Next book is definitely one that was on my 2020 video, and that is A Universe of Wishes edited by Daniel Clayton, along with authors of Samira Ahmed, Jenny Blanc, Libba Bray, which I forgot was in this, Zoraida Cordova, Tessa Granton, Kimon Mabala, Anna Marie McMore, Tochi Onabuchi, Marco Shiro, Natalie C. Parker, Rebecca Roanhorse, V.E. Schwab, Tara Sim, and Nick Stone. Oh my gosh, that was so many authors today. I'm curious about this one because this is I think it's like, obviously fantasy, but it's also a collection of short stories, so it will be an interesting read. I don't generally gravitate towards short story collection because they just kind of sit on my shelf until I need one for like a readathon or whatnot. But yeah, it says discover the diverse worlds of 15 award-winning and best-selling authors in this breathtaking anthology from We Need Diverse Books. So yeah, I just know it has very diverse, I guess, and I really don't know too much about this. It says, close your eyes, make a wish, the universe is yours for the taking. Like, that's all I really need to know, and I think this is all about villains, and I know most of these authors are really good with their villains, so I'm excited to see what that's going to be about. Next is a first book in a brand new series that came out end of 2020, and that is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. Yes, this is a first book in a series, and this is a dark Little Mermaid retelling, and I'm excited and curious to see what that is going to be all about. I also have this on my 5-star prediction list, which I have not completed at all. I barely touched it, I think. So I definitely want to get to this one sooner rather than later. But yeah, I got this in like December of last year, but these end pages again, they're just, Owlcrate is just an awesome bookish company, and yeah, you get first book in a series, you get standalone novels once in a while, but it says a way to survive, a way to serve, and a way to save. And so, I don't know, just taglines in general, that's all I really read for summaries. But like I said, it's a dark Little Mermaid retelling, and I'm excited for that. And I know book 2 is out because I saw that on my library, on like Libby and whatnot. So definitely on hold for book 2, even though I haven't read book 1 yet. We love doing that. The next book is actually my most recent. I know I said The Whispering Dark was my recent, but this is actually my most recent right here. And that is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is the second and final book in this duology. This is a Arthurian retelling, but from a female's point of view, and I absolutely loved Legendborn. I read it back when it came out. I think it came out in 2020 or 2021. I buddy read that with my friend Lori, and now Lori and I are going to buddy read the sequel in December. Spoiler alert for my TBR. I'm so excited for this. I know I keep saying that with all my books, but like this is truly at the top of my list. I also think this will be a 5-star read for me. I showed this off on my book talk account, but this is a stunning end pages with the art print, and then the number 2 on there with the little teal. I love it. So yeah, this is a most anticipated read of mine, and I'm nervous but also excited, and I just know it will be a 5-star read, and if it's not, I'm gonna be so disappointed. A lot of my favorite authors like Leigh Bardugo, Daniel Clayton, Kirsten White, L.L. McHenry, they all blurbed this book, so I'm really excited to see what I think of this, and hopefully I love it because I know a lot of people are currently reading this one. Next book I have is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. This is one of my newest Owlcrates that I got this year, and I really enjoyed it. Or I haven't even read it, but I really love how like dark and spooky it is. It's definitely perfect for the fall/winter season. Um, Again, this is a first book in a, I think, fantasy or maybe even thriller. I'm definitely going to say fantasy. First book in a fantasy series. Book 2 comes out in August of next year, and it has a matching cover, and we love it. But yeah, again, I don't know too much about this. That's kind of the theme of my channel. I don't really know too much about summaries. But this author letter says, Only a Monster is about a monster girl whose summer is ruined when the cute guy at work turns out to be a monster slayer. This book was written with so much love and heart. When I was growing up, I always wished that I could read books about characters who looked like me having amazing adventures in magical worlds. And then one day I realized that I could write that book. And now it is such a dream come true to share it with you in this beautiful Owlcrate edition. I hope you have as much fun reading it as I had writing it. From Vanessa. Like, reading these Owlcrate letters are just so sweet. And I definitely am curious to see if I will like this one or not. And if I do, I can get the sequel next year. This next one has definitely been in my 2020 video. And this whole trilogy is now completed. So I might be buddy reading this, I think, with Sydney and Taylor, but I can't remember if Taylor's joining us. But that is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novak. I know this is like an adult fantasy, but Owlcrate did this one for their exclusive box for some reason. I don't know why. Honestly, I kind of forgot what this one was about. I just know the trilogy is now completed, and I need to get on with this trilogy. That way I can see what all the hype is about. I know there's a lot of hype, but there's also like mixed reviews. But I know this is set at a boarding school, some type of boarding school with magic in it. So there's no like synopsis or summary on here that I can read to you. So if you want to know what this is about, I'll try and leave a Goodreads link down below. But yeah, this is one of my mini Owlcrate books that I have unread. Next book is definitely one of my older Owlcrates, and that is Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schultz. This is a YA standalone fantasy novel, and I don't know if I lost interest in this one. I might unhaul it, I might not. I'm going to try and read it in 2020. Wow, 2023 is in like 3 weeks. Not even 3 weeks, more like 4 weeks. Anyways, I'm going to try and read this in 2023 and see if I like it. And if I don't, then I might unhaul it. But yeah, I think this got compared to Stalking Jack the Ripper, and it also got compared to Six of Crows. I almost forgot my favorite book. I think this has to involve with a heist or something like that. But yeah, I kind of lost interest in this one. Might read it next year, might not. We'll see what happens. Next are 2 books by the same author, because Owlcrate did that with this duology, and that is the Lake's Edge duology by Lindell Clipstone. We have Lake's Edge, which is book 1, and Forest Fall, which is book 2. I got this one in October last month, or September. Months are blurring for me. I don't really know too much about it. I actually almost read the first book in October because it was like a perfect book to read. It says, there are monsters in the world, there are monsters in the woods, there's a monster in the shadows, and now it knows my name. I'm like so intrigued by what that means. I love the matching covers. They just look so good next to each other on the shelf. And again, I have another series to binge read next year, and hopefully I will love it. I think I'm going to save these 2 for the fall, though. Next one is also another series finale that I need to get to. I need to reread book 1. I almost put it in this video, but I wasn't too sure if you guys would like that or not. But that is All the Ties in Fate by Adeline Grace. You guys know I just read Belladonna by this author, and I absolutely loved it. I gave that one 5 stars, so I'm like, if I love that one, then I should be able to love this one. This is the second final book in the All the Stars and Teeth duology. Like I said, I read book one, absolutely loved it. I think I also gave um, All the Stars and Teeth at 5 stars. So maybe I need to reread book one and then jump into book two. But I think this was like one of my early on Owlcrate. Like this came out in February of this year, so it's still on my list, and I still want to complete this duology, and hopefully I will next month. Because spoiler alert, my TBR is a series theme TBR. So this might be on it. This might not. This might get pushed to 2023. Next book is one that I know my friend Lori has, and I think we're gonna buddy read this next month as well, and that is Together We Burn by Isabel and Nasbis. I think is the author's name. Sorry if I butchered this. I don't know too much about this. I think this deals with star-crossed lovers and whatnot, and maybe some sort of dragon. I don't know too much about it. I just know it's definitely a short standalone fantasy novel, and it's just a stunning edition. And a lot of my favorite authors have blurbed this, like Stephanie Garber, Adrienne Young, Shelby Mahurin, Bridget Kemmerer. I haven't read anything by Rebecca Ross, and then I haven't read anything by Ramona Garber. So, very intrigued to see what this is about, and I think, once again, me and Lori are going to buddy read this one next month, and if we are, I cannot wait to do that. Next book is the one that I'm actually really excited to get to. I think book two comes out in the fall of next year, if I remember correctly, and that is Bloodsichon by Deborah Filali. Again, sorry for butchering any words. This cover with the orange sprayed edges, so well done. Again, I don't know too much about this one, except this was one of their like exclusive editions that they have. But yeah, it just follows our 15-year-old main character who can incinerate any enemy at will, as the descendant of the Orishi god, but under the brutal rule of the Lucas, her identity means her death. And her mother knew as much, and she had to disappear trying to hide Salone's truth. So, sounds interesting. I don't know if it's one that I will love, but I don't know. This cover is just like drawing me in and making me want to read it sometime soon. Next book is one that I'm actually going to binge read next month because it's only a duology and I own book two. And that is Witches Steeped in Gold by Cinnamon Smart, I think is how you say the author's name. Again, sorry for butchering any author's names. This is a first book in a duology, and I own book two, and I almost put it in this video, but it wasn't from Owlcrate, so this one was. Again, don't know too much about it. It says, enemies bent on revenge, an unlikely alliance, one witch left standing. So I have a feeling this will be something like Serpent and Dove. If you love that, try this, I think. But yeah, again, this is one of my older, I don't even think it's old. I think it's like 2021. Yeah, 2021, so it came out last year. But it's definitely one that I kind of lost interest in, but I feel like this will be a good winter read as well. Let's see. The next book I have is Bone Cries Moon. I also have the sequel, so hold on. And A Bone Cries Dawn by Catherine Purdy. Again, this is a duology that I have completed from Owlcrate. And these sprayed edges are just gorgeous. I almost forgot my words. This is book one, this is book two, obviously, and they just have matching covers, which I just love so much. And again, I don't know too much about these because I keep getting these in my boxes, just because I know this one was on my wish list for a while when I first heard about it, and I was so happy to get a pretty edition. And then they did an exclusive edition for book two. So again, don't know too much about these. I just know I have the whole series to binge read next year, so this is definitely going to be on that list when I make that video. Next book is definitely in my 2020 video. I think I also lost interest in this one a little bit, which sucks because I know I love this author's writing. And that is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This has been on my TBR for a while because it kind of getting a little dust bunnies on the side. On, not the spine, but on the pages. Again, this is a YA, not fantasy, but it's a YA sci-fi standalone novel with another AI character, and I know there's time traveling involved in here. I don't know. I kind of lost interest in it. Might unhaul it next year. We'll see. I don't want to because it's so pretty, but might do it next year. The next one is also another sci-fi standalone novel, and that is Star Daughter. I'm not sure how to say this author's name, so I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm so sorry. But this is another stunning edition. I need to get to all my standalone, that way I can read them and be done with them. But yeah, don't know too much about this, except it's one of my unread Owlcrates, and a lot of my favorite authors have blurbed this as well, like Laini Taylor and Cindy Minen blurbed this, which is weird because she's a contemporary author. But those are the two authors that I recognize the most on the back of this book. And it's another sci-fi fantasy novel that's been on my TBR for forever. Next book is Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. I remember I had a book by her. This is one that came in a November or December Owlcrate. Can't remember what month, but it's definitely one of my newer books. I think it was November of last year, if I remember correctly. Anyways, stunning cover. Again, don't know too much about this one. Something to do with Moon and having special, like, powers and whatnot. Sounds like every other fantasy book. But I know this is, if I'm not mistaken, is a standalone fantasy novel, so we love that. This next one is a whole entire trilogy. And I have not read this entire trilogy. I've been meaning to get to it this whole year. And that is the Call Down the Hawk trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater. So we have, obviously, Call Down the Hawk, Mr. Impossible, and Grey Warden, which just came out this year. Owlcrate did exclusive editions for all of these as, like, their standalone boxes. And I got all three because I love Maggie Stiefvater. The Raven Boys is definitely a series I will recommend again and again. And I actually almost met Maggie Stiefvater at Yawis, but I was in the same line as, like, another author that was happening. So I almost had a chance to meet her. But I cannot wait to binge read this. I'm also very nervous because this means it's the end of the Raven Boys universe if I do binge read this next year. And like I just said, I love the Raven Boys, so I know I'm very excited but also scared to say goodbye to one of my favorite series. But I hear a lot of great reviews about this one, so I'm excited to see what I will think of it, and hopefully I will love it as much as I think I will. Next are, all of these are actually standalone. That's nice. All of these are standalone novels. So that is Jade Fire Gold by June Seelan Tan. This is a standalone fantasy novel. I know this is one that me and Lori have been trying to buddy read this year, but we never find a great month to do it in. So we might save this for the springtime just because it looks very springish. Again, standalone fantasy, don't know too much about it. I just know it's one of my most anticipated reads, and I haven't got to it yet. The next book is The Ivory Key by Akasha Raymond. I'm so sorry if I butchered names. This is actually the one that I got this year in January, and I haven't read it yet. And I think this might be a sequel to this, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I hear this gets compared to The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. So I'm very curious to see what that's going to be about. And it's a short YA fantasy standalone, so we'll see if I like it or not. This next one I think has been in my 2020 video, but I'm not too sure. But this one I actually DNF last year when I read this, because this was my friend's Lori like buddy read for her readathon, which I'll leave that video up above. But that is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I'm so sad to say I DNF'd this one because it's such a pretty edition, and it even came with like an exclusive bookmark. But I still count this as my unread Owlcrate, even though I did DNF it. I got to page 110, so like not that far into it. Maybe I'll try and pick this up again either next month or sometimes in 2023, and if I can't get into it next year, then I'm probably going to be unhauling it, sadly. But I just hear great things about this. Kara Thomas, Brian LaSalle both blurred this book. Those are authors that I've read from in the past, and I really enjoyed it. If I remember correctly, this is like dark academia mystery thriller, which is interesting because Owlcrate never does that. But yeah, I'm curious to see if I would love this one a bit more with like newer eyes, I guess. But curious to see what I will think about this in the new years. And then my final Owlcrate book that I have for you guys today is The Depths by Nicole Lisprinza. I'm so sorry for butchering names. This one is a YA thriller. I know I just said Owlcrate doesn't really do thrillers, but this was in their September 2022 box. And I read the first chapter of this, and it sounds really intriguing. So I'm excited to continue more in this, even though I only read like the first chapter. But I'm excited to see what this is all about. And it's a YA standalone, so I don't need to worry about sequels. I don't need to worry about like completing series. It's just one and done. So yeah, this is the final Owlcrate, final unread Owlcrate book in this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this very long video, please give me a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, turn your notification on so you don't miss any new videos coming from me. Well, usually I say it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I'm going to try and post every single day in December, and I'll chat with you guys down in the comments below. Bye!